Alright, hey guys, welcome to this session by Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao, and in this session, we are going to take a look at Python for data science. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and begin the session, again, I welcome you all to the session. It's a beautiful afternoon here in Bengaluru. Thank you so much for tuning in from anywhere across the world. Now, guys, before we go ahead and begin with the session, I want you guys to give me a quick confirmation if you can hear me fine, if you can see the screen fine, and all of that, right? So quickly head to the chat box. Just type in either a yes or a no, depending on if everything is fine, right? Now, once you guys go on to give a confirmation, we can go on to begin the session right there, right? Superb. Now, guys, I want to tell you all that I'm monitoring all of your comments in real time, right? So as and when you guys are putting down your comments, I'll be watching it on my mobile phone. I'll be answering all of your comments, right? So as always, you guys know the deal, right? We're gonna keep this highly energetic. We're gonna keep it highly interactive, and we are gonna understand everything there is to know about Python for data science, right? Now we're gonna be covering good amount of theory, and I'll have a special demonstration, a practical demonstration with a fantastic data set to show you the power of Python as well, right? Okay guys, now I'm getting so many yeses. Hello to all of you all. Elsa, Shrikar, Hari Krishnan, Dilraj, Tarun, superb. Hi guys, thank you so much for your confirmation. Welcome to the session. Let's get started, right? Now guys, the first thing that I want to showcase to you guys before I go on to show you the agenda is that I want to take a minute of your time to guide you about this fantastic venture we have at Great Learning called as Great Learning Academy. Now guys, can you head to the comment section and can you type in a quick yes, if you have had experiences with Great Learning Academy, if you have picked up courses here and learned for free, right? Because Great Learning Academy is a fantastic place to be where you'll join 1 million plus learners who tune in from 160 plus countries, wherein all of you all will have access to 700 plus courses absolutely free of cost, right? Now we have 700 courses. You can pick up any of these courses that you want to learn and eventually get started with it, complete it, and get a certificate of completion as well, right? Now again, the certificate of completion is provided free of cost as well. So right from you guys signing up to Great Learning Academy all the way to you actually having the certificate of completion in your hand, guys, it's completely free, right? Now there are many things you guys have to know about Great Learning Academy. First of all, we can talk about the courses that I just spoke about, right? We have beginner courses, intermediate courses, and advanced courses. And just like what you're seeing on your screen here as well, right? Some of these courses are also available in the language of Hindi. Now I do understand that a lot of you all prefer learning in Hindi, so we have courses here which are in Hindi as well. But of course, this session is going to be completely in English, guys. Since we're talking about data science, if I just click on the data science tab here, you can find out all of these courses that we are providing for data science. An even better way to have structure through your learning, if you just click on select career path here, we have the Great Learning career path wherein you can understand which order you guys need to work on completing these courses, right? Now since we're talking about data science, let me quickly click on data science here. Now every one of us are gonna have some sort of aspiration. I'm sure you guys are also looking forward to engaging in the community of data science if you've clicked on this video, right? Now some of you might be looking for jobs and all of that. Now take a look at the various job roles that are present here through which you guys can have access to the multiple roles in data science, right? Now the most popular one is of course you guys becoming a data scientist. You can check out the details about how many jobs are there, what are the average salaries, and how many learners we have enrolled into our flagship post-graduation programs as well, career transition programs, which I am going to talk about again in a good amount of detail at the end of this session, guys. This is going to be a 1 hour session, and in the last 5 or 10 minutes we're going to be talking about this, so it's very important that you guys pay attention, right? Superb. Now as you can see, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see an order which says start your journey towards becoming a data scientist, and if I keep scrolling, you'll see we are providing you multiple courses, and we are also providing you the order in which you guys are supposed to go on to take these courses, right? You can pick up any course that you want. You can just click, for example, I've been checking out this course for a while. I can hit resume learning and I'm there, and as soon as the course is done, I have the certificate of completion, right? Now guys, this is a fantastic venture that we have here to make sure sure that all of you all have access to, again, fantastic this thing courses that we provide here, and at the same time really high quality material for all of you all, right? Superb, guys. With that, I hope you guys are enrolled into Great Learning Academy. If you're not, please do, because you're seeing the ample amount of advantages that you guys are getting, right? It's not just these advantages that sets Great Learning Academy apart. It's just that it's completely accessible to you guys in multiple places. Right now, if you want to join in from the web browser, you can do it. Join in from your laptop, yes. Phone, yes. If you have an Apple phone, if you have an Android phone, it doesn't matter, guys. We have the Great Learning app. Make sure you guys are downloading the app and you can tune in, right? Now, guys, I just want to ask you one question before going ahead. How many of you guys are tuning in from your mobile phones today, right? Let me know the answer to that, and I am sure, because I asked you this question because I want to tell you that all of the sessions that we have by all the subject matter experts here at Great Learning, we make sure to optimize the content for all you guys who are watching this on your mobile devices as well, so that you can see everything that's going on a smaller screen too. Right? Okay, superb. I have the first question. Let's quickly take up this question. Shrikar says, any opportunity for academic gap? Well, Shrikar, you do not have to worry about an academic gap if you have the skills to tackle the domain, right? It's all about skills when you're coming to Python. It's all about skills when you're talking about data science. So 90% of the time when someone brings in an academic requirement, it will probably only be to filter it off. Okay, superb, guys. So welcome to this session. It's high time we take a look at the agenda for this particular session. We are going to start this out by taking a look at understanding why you should learn Python, right? Now, why not Java for data science? Why not C++ for data science, right? So we want to make sure that we understand why it is that we are considering Python. Once we know that, we're going to be discussing some really important skills that are needed for you guys to become experts in Python for data science. Now, some of these skills cannot be taught. This is done by practice, and most of the time when these skills are being discussed, the ones that I'm about to discuss with you are usually skipped. So it's a very important thing that we discuss that. And after that, of course, guys, we're going to be taking a look at understanding all the various data science libraries to see how you guys can get started with the domain of data science itself, right? Once that is done, we are going to have a practical demonstration where I'll be taking an entire mini project, and we can actually quickly go on to discuss. Right now, we won't be discussing the project wherein we'll be discussing every single point of syntax. Now, I'm sure that some of you might not know Python syntax in a very good amount of depth, right? Well, do not worry, because the point of the practical demonstration is to make sure that you guys understand the power of Python, showing you that it is so simple to do so many complex things, right? That is going to be an interesting demo, so make sure you guys stick till the end. Okay, now that we have the agenda clear, I think it's high time we get started, right? Now, before we go on to the first item on the agenda, I want to talk to you about a quick did you know. If you guys are tuning in from your Mozilla Firefox browser, it is a fantastic thing for you to know that your browser is using data science and Python right now. In fact, if you're using Firefox, your browser is using somewhere around 250,000 lines, 2.5 lakh lines of code that is written in Python for your web browser to work. Right? And of course, since we're talking about how Python also came into the being, you have to understand one very interesting fact. Python is not named after a snake. It is actually named after a TV show called as Monty Python's Flying Circus, right? It's a very old comedy TV show in the 60s, and the creator of Python, Guido van Rossum, he's an absolute legend, right? So he named it as a tribute to the show. Now, guys, one thing that you will already know and you should know at this moment of time is that data science is booming, Python is also booming, and it is showing extreme trends on the positive side. With this, you have to understand that this will not only create thousands and thousands of jobs across the world, but also at the same time, since the demand is higher, you will have access to higher salaries as well, right? It's not just that there is demand but everyone is paying an average amount. No, if you have the right skill set, you will have the capability to ask for an amount and get it as well, right? That is the magic of Python. That is the magic of data science as well. So we know a good amount of these stuff already, but why are we even considering to learn Python here, right? Now, guys, you have to understand that Python is not a new programming language. Even though it's a very old programming language, it has been futuristic at every point in time. For example, if you are building something for a purpose, right? Now, why do we have cars? We have cars so that we can move around. It is built for a purpose to take human beings around. Similarly, Python has multiple purposes through which it was built. First of all, it was built to handle any amount of data that's provided at it in an efficient way. The second thing is that when we're talking about the world of data science, of course we're going to be seeing a ton of data, right? So to handle all of these and to make sure that the programmer doesn't have to put in a lot of effort to actually handle the amount of data or even solve the entire problem, Python has been purpose built for a domain such as data science, right? So when you say purpose built, it just fits like butter and it works really well. And at the same time, it's a domain which requires a lot of power, lot of efficiency and the skills of a programmer. Now Python takes all these things and brings it together to make sure you guys have a fantastic learning, right? And when we say built for data science, what do we mean? Well, now that you guys are starting out with Python, now that you guys are trying to look at data science, it should be very clear to you that you pick up a programming language which is of course easy to learn, and there is no other language, at least in my opinion, that is as easy to learn as Python. Now guys, you head to the comment section and you actually tell me, right, there was a time probably in your school or your college where you might have started learning C or C++ very long ago, right? Now when you compare the syntax of those languages you learned versus Python, if you have had any experience, you will realize that this is a very easy language to learn, right? It's really just English and you are talking to your computer, you're literally chatting with your computer, right? Now of course that's oversimplified, but that's the thing. And of course guys, it's open source and it's an interpreted language. When I say open source, I mean you really do not have to pay anyone anything to use Python, right? Python is free for all, free to the entire world, and in fact Python is built and it has improved with every single version because we have thousands and thousands of developers who are contributing back to the world of Python as well. It's a fantastic community to be in, and I'm pretty sure at the end of this video I would love to welcome you all into the world of Python for data science. Right now, it's not just scalability that you have to take a look at. It's not just you taking a small project or working on a really big one and using Python. The most important thing you have to understand is how easy is Python making your job as a programmer. To answer that question, Python first of all provides a huge library of frameworks, helpers, functions. There are so many things that Python will provide to us to make sure our task is lessened, right? And in fact, the libraries in Python are the reason for its popularity, because if it weren't for that, it would just be again another difficult programming language to work with, in my opinion. And of course guys, it becomes super important for you guys to know that this is a language which is even simpler than the other language in the terms of it being a strongly typed language. Now a strongly typed language, I'll give you a small example. Back in the day when you were learning C or C++ and you had to put a variable on the screen, you were going to say int a equal to 3, float b equal to 3.5. So you had to define the data type, int, floor, cat, string, char, right? So there are so many things that you had to do manually. If it is one or two variables and if you're learning a small program for your college, it is fine. But what if you're solving a really big project and that you have thousands of variables, probably hundreds of variables that you use, right? This is where Python provides you an advantage. You do not have to give the data type to Python. Python is intelligent enough to understand that, hey, this is a floating point number, this is a character, this is a string, this is an integer, right? It knows. You don't have to specify, it can do it on its own. If later you think that, hey, this is not what I wanted, you can change it explicitly as well. It's called explicit typecasting, right? Okay, superb. Now I'll give you one more reason why you guys should consider Python, is that it has the strongest trends of any programming language in the world right now. When beginners, researchers, intermediate learners, experts, people on the enterprise grade level, and even the most professional people who are searching for a programming language, which language do you think they are searching for, be it on search engines like Google, Bing or anything, right? It is Python. Everyone across the world who wants to get into programming, usually, especially for data science, pick up Python as their go-to language, right? So of course, when the world is trending towards one side, the jobs are all going to be based on that. It always adds value for you guys to make sure that you're catering to that kind of a trend, and of course having access to those high-paying jobs as well. Right? Superb. Now that we have discussed that, let me pick up one or two questions before we go ahead on to the next section, right? Nilesh Gohil has a fantastic question. He says, how important is maths for a data science job? Now, Nilesh, maths is super important for a data science job because it is not the maths that you would have learned in your college, but here we are trying to apply mathematics, right? So applied maths is very different from just maths. So you're gonna have to require skills on applied mathematics, statistical testing, and a couple of other important methodologies. So yes, it is very important. If you ask me, I would rate it 9 out of 10, right? All right. Saira Banu says anytime also the admission will be open sir in Texas Academy. Well, Saira Banu, please head to the course link. I'm very sure our person handling the chat here is going to give you a link there. There you can definitely contact our experts and you can check out the admission deadlines that we have for our programs with respect to the University of Texas, right? All right. Okay guys, fantastic. Now let's pick up the next section and we can go on to check more questions later. Right now, to talk about the skills that are required for Python data science, I told you that some of these skills cannot be taught and it comes by experience, right? Think about it. Now, everyone will tell you, hey, you have to learn Python, you have to learn this, you have to learn that, do this, do that, but no one will tell you how you can be a self-sustaining programmer who can, power ahead, right? Now, that's really important here because with respect to Python, what you are going to require if you're working on a data science project is out-of-the-box thinking. Now, I'll give you one example. It might sound a little stupid, but think about it in a very clear way, right? Now, let's just say it's a very hot day. It of course is a very hot day right now. Let's say I want to go eat some ice cream, right? The ice cream shop is maybe two or three streets away. What do you think is the most efficient way to go there? I can probably walk, I can take my vehicle, so I can go there and come back in 5 minutes and I can start eating ice cream, correct? That is one way. Now the other way is a very very different way wherein I'll go 50 kilometers away just for nothing and I'll eventually take a U-turn, come back to the same ice cream shop, eat the same ice cream and come back, right? Here's an even more different way. I'll take a flight to Delhi, from Delhi I'll fly back to Bangalore again, I'll go directly to the ice cream shop and I'm gonna come back. Now it sounds funny, I know, but knowing that there is one problem, the problem here is me eating ice cream, you can have any sort of ways to approach it, right? Not every approach is going to be efficient, but knowing that, hey, I can have these many approaches to solve and attack a problem is super important. You'll only get that by experience when you're starting to code, and eventually this out of the box thinking is going to make sure that you guys go from good programmers to great programmers, guys. Very important point, right? Now the second requirement is you're going to have an approach wherein you like working with data. See, the domain you're applying for is data science, right? It's everything sciencey about the data itself. So you're going to be handling a lot of amount of data. You're going to be working with a good amount of data at any given point of time. So rather than just doing it as a job, if you go on to enjoy working with data, knowing that you'll find a lot of insights with your data, don't you think it will be a better way to approach, and knowing that it will help you solve the problem faster? Think about it. This skill, again, I cannot teach you, neither can anyone. When you start working on it, you definitely can work towards this, right? And the third point, it says ability to scale up solutions. Yes, this is a very important point. Now we have multiple courses on Great Learning Academy. I have a full course of data science on YouTube that you guys can watch, and eventually you are going to come to a point where, hey, I can work on all these simple examples. Now let me start tackling really big projects, right? That ability which says, hey, let us challenge ourselves, let us push ourselves more, is very important data science. It's a very big domain first of all, and to make sure that in this big domain you have the most efficient and the effective way to go about solving a problem is important, guys. So make sure you're working on that. Now to talk about the last point, logic building skills. Now I will ask you one question. You guys are gonna answer this particular question, right? So if I ask you saying which is more difficult to do, writing syntax or finding out the logic, which is more difficult, guys? Is it just you guys simply typing in Python because you know how to type Python, or is it you actually sitting and thinking, looking at algorithms, wondering how you can solve the problem, figuring out the logic? Which one is tougher? I am sure that by the time you guys hit the comment section, I know that a lot of you all are going to say logic building, right? Now this is something you guys have to work on. With respect to data science, as I told you, one problem can be attacked in multiple different ways, but the one winner is considered the person is considered a winner if he or she can find the most effective way, right? If you have a better logic, a more efficient logic, of course you will be preferred, right? So knowing, especially in your interviews, this is going to happen. If your interviewer asks you, hey, can you solve this problem, you are supposed to answer it in a way saying, I can solve it in multiple ways, which way do you want me to use, right? That is the most impressive thing a data science interviewer or a Python interviewer can hear from you. Not just saying yes, I can solve the problem, but saying yes, I can solve it in multiple methods. Which one do you want? Give them the choice, tell them the efficiency of it, and tell them which one is more efficient there as well, right? This is going to be very impressive for you guys to not only get a job but also enjoy working on the job later as well. Look at the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. You all are telling logic, right? Of course it makes sense. Of course you require logic. Now guys, without further ado, I think it is important that we try to understand how you guys can in fact get started with the domain of data science itself, right? So to quickly give you an introduction with respect to data science has been in the top 10 career list for somewhere around 5, 6, 7 years right now, right? I remember way back in 2012 is when data science started going through the roof and everyone wanted to become a data scientist, and it is still the same. The time I talk to someone who's a data science enthusiast, they're saying, yes, we love this job, we want to go ahead and we want to still have passion for this, right? So that is a powerful thing to have, having passion, having the liking for your job, and knowing that you're working in a domain which is again in the top 10 always, right? So that's a fantastic thing. And sorry for the informal language, but everywhere when you talk about data science, it is considered to be the hottest job in the entire world today. Now when you say hottest job in the entire world, I think they mean information technology, the world of IT, but think about it, right? Having a designation which is the hottest job of the hottest job of the career, or hottest job of the time, the decade, whatever it is, right? Now, I can promise you one thing at this moment of time. If you have never used Python, if you have never used data science, I can tell you that you already have done it. You have used applications which are built based on it, but you might never know that you are using that particular concept there, right? Now, to give you a quick example, I am sure a lot of you guys here have gone shopping on Amazon, e-commerce sites like Flipkart, and for all the viewers we have who are tuning in from the rest of the world, I am sure you guys might be shopping in at Best Buy, Walmart, all of these places, right? Now, when you're using your mobile application or when you're on the browser buying something here, do you know that you'll get product recommendations based on whatever you're searching? If you're an artist, if you're a painter, and if you have just bought continuous painting items on Amazon is intelligent enough to know that, hey, this person seems to be an artist. So every time you open Amazon, it will start recommending you art stuff, right? Now you might be a cricketer, so every time you go on to buy a new cricket bat, ball, or an accessory on Amazon, it knows that it has to show you cricket items, because if it shows that, there's a good chance you'll buy it, right? It's simple. You don't have to be a cricketer, you don't have to be any of these artists to actually use this feature. Just go to Amazon and try adding two things, right? Maybe if you're buying a notebook, there's a good chance you'll require a pen as well. So as soon as you add the notebook to your cart, Amazon is intelligent enough to say that, hey, people who have bought this notebook have also bought some pens. Would you like to buy some pens as well? Now, it's not a person who's sitting in the back and doing this. It's Amazon in its own intelligence saying, hey, I have to, if someone is buying a notepad, there's a good chance they're going to need something to write. So let me also recommend a pen, right? So this is something which is very important. And how do you think this entire thing works? Data science. Well, let me give you one more example. Netflix, right? Come on, guys. Let's just be super honest with each other here. Here we watch a lot of Netflix, Amazon Prime, or any other TV shows, right? Now, I find myself at least 1 or 2 hours on the weekend watching a good amount of TV shows. But you have to understand that Netflix is not just a place where you would go on to watch TV shows. You have to admire the way that Netflix is built, right? They are using extremely complex artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning models that are working to bring you the best content. Now, Netflix is the world's most popular streaming site because of the reason that it will show you what you love to see. Right now, of course, it is the same for any of us. If you're watching a cricket match, if our favorite team is winning, we love it, right? We cheer, we are happy and all of that. Similarly, Netflix as well. As soon as you come on to Netflix, if it is showing you things that you love to see, you will of course sit and watch that. Now that is the reason why Netflix has become so popular. Of course, it is giving you high quality TV shows, movies and all of that, but there is a very complex artificial intelligence model running in the background, and I am in absolute awe and love with how they're using this, right? Okay, so we have someone in the comment section, Sushmita Chaudhary, my program does not run. Well, Sushmita, I understand your program might not be running, but please do not spam the comment section, right? I cannot help you if you just say my program does not run. You have to tell me why it doesn't run so I can help you, but at the same time, please ensure that you are not spamming the comment section. Right, fantastic. Now let me give you one more example, guys. Now this is an example which will probably stun you guys if you have not used data science on the coder or the programmer level. There is no other domain in the world that will help you predict the future, right? It is something very simple. Open up the Google Assistant on your phone right now and say, hey Google, what is the weather like tomorrow? Now that I said hey Google, I'm sorry if all of your phones actually went into hey Google mode, right? So you can ask Siri, ask Google, ask Cortana, ask Alexa. Just say what is the weather like tomorrow. How does it know what the weather is like tomorrow? Tomorrow is not here yet, it is today, right? So how does it know? It is using a ton of data from the meteorological departments to actually predict, saying if the cloud is doing this today, there's a good chance it's going to be doing that tomorrow, and it will predict, right? Now 99% of the time it is very accurate. If it says it will rain tomorrow, there is a very good chance it will rain, or it's going to be extremely cloudy, right? It is very close. But this feature wherein you can not only analyze where the company went wrong in the past, maybe by using data analysis, all the way to predicting what the company might do, what will be the sales of the company in the next month, what will be the sales of the company maybe in the next 2 years, right? So you literally can go on to actually do all of these and understand what goes on, not just by looking at the past data, but also having the ability to understand understand the future as well. Right now, guys, this is something which is fantastic of the domain that I absolutely love. Right now, to give you guys a quick essence of how you would go on to understand the data science architecture, you will be curious, right? We're learning about Python for data science. Now, if I just tell you the architecture and say, hey, this is the architecture, it will not make sense. Where is Python used in all of these steps that give us the data science result we want? Well, I can tell you this right now. All these steps that you're seeing on your screen, the 5 steps that you're seeing on your screen right now, basically data science is used everywhere here, guys. Everything from data acquisition. Now, when I say data acquisition, we are trying to hunt around for the data and bring the data into our organization so that we can work with it, right? That is step number 1. Of course, if you're talking about big data, if you're talking about database handling, Python works, right? The next step after you've got the data is to clean it and pre-process it, right? Now, if you do not clean and pre-process your data, it's going to be inaccurate. If it's inaccurate, when we look at it, we will not lose anything. But if it is inaccurate, and give me 1 second, guys, there's a very loud jet that is passing above. Okay, that went, right? So if you do not pre-process the data, it is fine for us, but for a machine learning algorithm, it is going to be very difficult. You have to understand that if you're teaching a wrong thing to maybe a small kid or a machine learning algorithm, it is literally the same, right? They will not be able to understand what is right, what is wrong. You have to be very careful about data pre-processing. Here as well, Python is used. Then machine learning and data visualization. With respect to machine learning, guys, again, Python for machine learning, of course, is the most popular. It's like a marriage made in heaven, right? So it is really important for you guys to understand that Python is super simple when you're working with machine learning. Now, I've been asked so many questions saying, hey, I have this very small problem that I want to do. Will this take hundreds of lines of code in Python? Well, every time I've been asked that question, I see the problem statement, I'll be like, hey, you can solve this in probably 30-40 lines and your entire program is done. An entire machine learning model is done, right? In fact, if you guys stick around for another 10-15 minutes, you are going to be also taking a look at what it is to understand how easy Python is if you're working with machine learning, right? Python is super simple. Python is very easy to work with. It will not take a lot of time. 99% of the cases your input is very small, but the output that Python provides is super big, guys. That is where it's very important, right? That is machine learning. Talking about data visualization, with respect to data visualization, again we have beautiful libraries in Python which will take your Excel data, let's just say Excel workbook data, and create beautiful looking graphs out of it. In fact, I just told you about the demo. I am going to be understanding and making sure that you guys also see how good data visualization you guys can go on to perform, right? And knowing that Python is used in every single step here is an advantage, because if you're a person who just likes machine learning, well, you can learn Python for machine learning. If you're a person who just loves data visualization, you can look at business intelligence, you can look at Python for business intelligence and data visualization as well. This kind of flexibility is very difficult to obtain in another programming language, right? Now, web development is a fantastic domain as well, but there multiple languages are present and it has its own single usage. This is a front-end language, this is a back-end language, right? You cannot interchange it and say I'm going to start using back-end languages and create a front-end. It might work sometimes, but it will not. It is not built for that. But Python is built for this entire thing in a way where whatever it is that you want to do, you can go on to do, right? Superb. Now, I see one very interesting questions. Bilal says Great Learning doesn't have any PHP and MySQL course in the channel. Why? Well, Bilal, your message is definitely noted. We're going to pass on the feedback to the concerned team and make sure you're subscribed to the Great Learning YouTube channel. And once we go on to release these contents that you're requesting for, you will be the first one to get notified about it, right? Okay. Sarya Banu says, sir, please tell about BE and BTech. Now, Sarya, what it is that you want to know about BE and BTech, because the most important thing that I can tell you about is as soon as you probably finish your engineering course, and right now the prospects are fantastic. You'll probably be learning a good amount of data science in college itself, and as soon as you graduate, right, the number of job openings we have is absolutely cool. It is so many that even if you're a fresher, you'll have a lot of advantages and a lot of flexibility. It is not like you go on to search for jobs. You can actually say, hey, this is the company that I want to work for. So you probably go to their careers page, apply. If you're good, if you're skilled enough, you will land the job, right? So there is no amount of waiting for a job or anything like that. There is thousands and thousands of jobs available. You just find the one which is right for you and go on to work, right? Now, this is literally the discussion that we are having. Think about the various roles that you have as a person who knows Python for data science. You can become a data scientist. You can become a data analyst. You can become a data engineer, and of course, a business intelligence analyst as well, right? Now, most of these domains, there are slight differences between what each of these guys do. The most popular designation being data scientist, of course. But if you're taking a look at understanding data analyst, data engineer, and BI analyst role, a data analyst is very much into picking up the data which is already ready and analyzing it. A data engineer is slightly different. This person is responsible for building and maintaining the pipelines through which we can go on to access the data, right? That is important. And of course, once you have all of your data, it has been analyzed, your data scientist has run all of his or her stuff on it, eventually at the end, you're going to be also performing business intelligence analysis. For there, you can become a business intelligence analyst as well, right? Front-end Gyan, please do not spam the comment section, right, guys? Again, for everyone, please do not spam the comment section. If you have a question, please ask the question once. I'll make sure to pick up the question and ask. There's no point if you put it 10-15 times, right? So cool, let's just get back to talk about the different libraries that we have. If you remember at the start of the session, I told you guys an important thing. I told you that Python's libraries are the reason it has become so popular for us, right? In that particular case, for data science especially, we have super important libraries in Python. Now, I am sure you would have heard of these libraries, or you would have known these libraries as well. There are two libraries we have, which again, not just for data science, but if you are a Python developer, you should know. It is NumPy NumPy and Pandas. NumPy is basically called numerical Python, and it is used to work with array data structures. It is to perform mathematical operations and statistical operations there. Now Pandas is a fantastic library that will give you more data structures. Pandas has two important data structures. One is series, the other one is data frames, right? I'm sure you guys have heard of this. If you've heard of this, head to the comment section and just let me know as a yes. Right now, it's not just NumPy, it's not just Pandas that is making Python popular. We have very important libraries that gives power to Python, right? We have TensorFlow, PyTorch, and scikit-learn. TensorFlow and PyTorch are basically deep learning libraries and neural network libraries which are very closely associated to us achieving artificial intelligence with Python, right? Now, TensorFlow is by Google. The developers at Google created TensorFlow, and of course it's free to use. Now, PyTorch is different. PyTorch came from the experts at Facebook. Now, you'll see these two giants go head to head, and it is a fantastic thing because they will be building the best of the best framework since they have the competition there, right? So, it is superb to know that we have the most popular libraries such as this, right? Now, when you take a look at scikit-learn, scikit-learn is a superb library because here you will be looking towards machine learning, right? I definitely want to say that scikit-learn is at the heart of machine learning for Python, because without this library, it becomes super difficult to work with, right? A machine learning model is not simple. It takes a lot of code, but with Python, you don't have to write a lot of this code. You just have to give in your inputs. You just have to tweak one or two things and you're done. You will see in this demo that we're about to discuss as well, right? Now, one important thing that all of you all here should understand about another important aspect of data science is data visualization. Since you will be working with a lot of data, it is important to not be overwhelmed with data, right? So to make sure that you're not doing that, it is a very easy way to convey data with respect to graphs. Instead of showing someone an Excel sheet which has like 10,000 rows and 1,000 columns, why don't you just create probably 5 or 10 beautiful looking graphs which will eventually give you the same result, right? To do that, you have these two libraries, matplotlib and cbor, which are super popular in Python, and of course they are used in data science majorly as well, right? Aguila says, sir, please tell about how Python is important in electronics. Well, that's a very good question, Aguila. Now, when we're talking about electronics, it's a different domain which eventually trickles into the world of IoT as well, right? Internet of Things. Now, IoT, electronics, and Python, for most of the reasons, if you guys are working with electronics, you should know that C# is a very good language to work with there, right? Now, if you're working with machine level code or anything which corresponds directly to machine learning code, languages such as C# are preferred, but at the moment Python is seeing its usage everywhere. So you can write Python code which will eventually convert it to the machine code that's required for your machine, and it will eventually work. So it doesn't matter what language you use, and of course Python can be used for that as well. Okay guys, superb. Now we are at this part where I told you we're going to be having a quick hands-on session where we're going to be discussing a practical demonstration with respect to how you guys can use Python, right? Now guys, it is important for you guys to understand it is okay even if you guys have do not have any experiences working with Python. My point with this entire demo is to just show you guys saying, hey look, if you go on to work with Python, this is how easy it is to work on a really big data science project, right? Well, let me just quickly get a gulp of water and we can get started. Mayuri has a question. She says, sir, Great Learning will launch data scientist and data analyst courses. Well, Mayuri, again, we have multiple courses on Great Learning Academy with respect to data science and data analysis as well. And if you're looking for a course, a full course, I have created a full course here at Great Learning. It's just head to the channel, just search for data science full course, and you will have a course that you can use to learn as well, right? Now, Darshan has another question. Sir, how helpful it is to become a senior business analyst for the mortgage industry? Now, I do not have a lot of experience with respect to the mortgage industry, but you have to know that it is an industry that is driven by numbers and metrics, right, Darshan? Now, when it is that case, when you have a lot of metrics that you can track, when you have a lot of numbers that you can use, one advantage is that you can analyze all of these things, and not just analyze where you went wrong, but you can also analyze what might be the future value of a property or whatever it is in the next couple of months, next couple of years. You can add an inflation, you can add everything there, right? So it is really good. Now let's just quickly go on to have check out the practical demo, and I'll be picking up more of your questions as and when we go on to do it. Right now guys, let me zoom in a little so that all of you all can see the screen. If you're wondering what it is that you're seeing right now, it is basically a Python Jupyter notebook. Now a Jupyter notebook is a place where you just write in your Python code, you just hit enter and you execute it. Right now, the advantage with Google Colab, or Collaboratory as it's called, is that this is free to use. You can literally you don't have to have a powerful computer to use it. If you have a phone, if you have a smart TV also, you can sit and go on to work with this, guys. So I love using Google Colab because I can work on my 90% of the time I'm usually coding on my mobile phone. I can take my mobile wherever I go. I'm sitting at a Starbucks, I can sit and write code. I'm sitting elsewhere, I can write code, right? So knowing that you can not only write code but execute it, verify it, test it, everything is done on the Google Cloud platform. So you don't need anything on your local machine apart from maybe the data set, right? Okay, fantastic. Now that you guys know what it is that we're doing, let me quickly give you a gist about the demo that we're about to see now. One important thing about the demo that we're about to see, ladies and gentlemen, is basically us trying to understand, trying to get our machine learning model to understand the parameters that cause diabetes, right? Now, there are multiple reasons of why one person can be diagnosed with diabetes. You guys tell me, right? It can be an age factor, it can be your health and fitness, it can be your body mass index, it can be your weight, it can be your skin thickness, it can be your blood pressure, it can be your blood sugar level or the insulin level that it's called, right? So there are so many even hereditary, there are so many different things which will eventually say, which will have a say saying, yes, since this person is maybe very inactive, extremely inactive, or maybe the person is not physically fit, then he or she might get diabetes as well, right? So there are many things that you can not only understand yourself but also teach your machine learning model to say, hey, these can be the reasons of why this person has diabetes. I want you as the machine learning algorithm to learn it and tell me if you can actively predict if it is correct or not, right? That is exactly what we are doing here as well, guys. Now let's quickly go through this particular demo, and I'm going to be answering all of your questions as soon as we are done, right? Now to talk about the steps, guys, again, if you're not familiar with any of the syntax here, do not worry. Right now, with respect to understanding what it is we're doing is very important. The first step that we have to do is always import all of our libraries, because if you don't do it here, you might have to do it again and again everywhere, right? You just do it once, forget it. Now remember those libraries that we discussed, that I told you that they are at the heart of data science? Look at this. We have NumPy, we have Pandas, we have Matplotlib, we have Seaborn. scikit-learn is basically the same as scikit-learn as well, right? Now this is not a deep learning demo. If it was a deep learning demo, we would have used PyTorch or TensorFlow as well, right? Now as soon as I click this play button, just like clicking play on YouTube, this particular piece of code is executed, right? I don't have to install Python, I don't have to do anything. I just come here, I type the code, I hit play, I test it, and it works. So Baba Tope says, what is the name of the application for writing the Python code? It is called Google Colab, C-O-L-A-B. Just go to Google, type Google space C-O-L-A-B Colab, and you will have the entire Jupyter notebook for free, right? So I hope that answers your question, Baba Tope Babade. I'm sorry if I spelt your name wrong, but one thing you have to understand, the next step after bringing on to all the all the libraries that we're going to be using, we need the data, right? We're talking about diabetes. When we're talking about diabetes, it becomes important that we have some sort of patient data that we can teach our machine learning algorithm, right? Now I have one data set which basically does the exact same thing. So let's quickly take a look at what this data set is telling us. Right now, this is exactly what the data set looks like, but it has many number of rows as well. These are the number of columns, but there are many rows too. Now what it is that we are trying to understand here, right? As I told you, first look at the last column. Look at the last column here. It says outcome. Now let me zoom in a little more so you guys can see it better, right? Now here in the last column it says 0 and 1. What it means is that every single row of data you see is one patient's data, and each of those row has details such as age, it has body mass index, insulin value, skin thickness, blood pressure, glucose level, and even pregnancies as well, right? Because pregnancies, I'm sure, also has an effect on the onset of diabetes too, right? Superb. Now it's very important for you to think about all of these. How much can glucose affect diabetes? How much can blood pressure affect diabetes? How much can body mass index is basically telling you how much of body fat you all have, right? So using all of these, basically we already have the data. We know that this person has diabetes. If the outcome is 1, it means this person is diabetic. If the outcome is 0, it means this person is non-diabetic, right? Okay, so I have one question. Mohammed says this guy never replies to my question, says simply. Well, Mohammed, let me just go on to pick up your question, right? You say, sir, what is the difference between data analyst, data engineer, data architecture, and data analyst? Well, Mohammed, I actually answered this particular question when we were discussing the job roles, right? As a data scientist, this person is involved with all the processes, right from data ingestion all the way to key insights. But a data engineer will only be bothered about bringing in the data. Now you can bring in your data from multiple places. It can be, you can bring in your data from Twitter, you can bring your data in from your competitors, your clients, whatever it is, right? So data engineer is concerned about how you can bring in and keep the data ready for data analysts and for data scientists as well, right? Now there is no such thing as data architecture, Mohammed. So data architecture may be how you will govern or how you will go on to talk about the data itself. And a data analyst is slightly different from a data scientist in a way that I just told you, right? A data analyst is just concerned about using data and putting out the result. But a data scientist is also concerned of everything, right from bringing in the data. Now a data analyst will not break his head about how the data comes, because the data is provided by the data engineer. But a data scientist also has to think about all of these, right? So that, I hope this answers your question, Mohammed. Okay. Superb. So now we know the data. Now we know that each of these rows is a patient data, and we know that the outcome is 0 or 1. Now what I'll do is I'll make sure this last column is not seen by our machine learning algorithm. I'm just going to provide this particular data, and I'm going to say, hey, can you figure out on your own? Can you actively predict saying if this person has diabetes or not by taking a look at glucose, blood pressure, skin thickness, BMI, and all of that, right? Okay, superb. So all the column names we have printed, the pregnancies, glucose, blood pressure level, skin thickness, age, outcome, we already saw all of this. The next thing that we're going to try to print is seeing how many patient data do we have. We just saw 5. Does it mean that we only have 5? No. So what we're doing here is we have data of 768 patients. So every single row that you saw here is one person. So we have 768 rows. Usually in machine learning, more the data that you provide, the better it can learn. This is not true all the time, but yes, the quality and the quantity of data is super important, right? Okay, superb, guys. Now that we know that we have 768 aspects of customer data here, or the patient data, or anything as such. Let us quickly try to understand what is the average blood pressure, or maybe the average body mass index of the entire data set. Usually it is recommended to have a BMI of somewhere between 25 to 27, I think, but you can see in our entire data set that the BMI is pretty much higher for everyone. Now this is basically the mean value. Count is talking about how many people, how many rows of data we have for each of these. Of course we have 768 rows. Now taking a look at standard deviation. Standard deviation talks about how far away is your data from the mean. Now all these 4 you do not have to worry about right now, because we're talking about how we can break out data into different quartiles. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 is what we do. We break out the data into these percentiles to give us access to say, hey, this part of the data belongs to which quartile, this part of the data belongs to what division. To answer all those questions, we are going to use this, right? Malinath Navade has a question. Can we use Google Colab in mobile? Yes, Malinath, you can use Google Colab in your mobile phone as well, right? Okay, now The next thing that I told you, all this time we just saw the data, we brought in data ingestion. Do you remember that step where I told you have to pre-process the data? Now this is the place where we are trying to check if we have any sort of NaN values. NaN means not a number, right? Now if I ask you guys what is your body mass index, of course you'll tell me a number maybe between 20 and 30 or maybe 20 and 35 depending on what it is. But sometimes when the data is being created, someone might enter it wrong. Someone might enter their mobile phone as their body mass index, right? Now when you put in your mobile phone as BMI, it will not make sense. If you just send it as it is to your machine learning algorithm, it is going to learn everything incorrectly and it is going to give you a very bad output. To make sure that we check for these values, you just quickly run. Now thankfully in my particular case, the data set is already clean, so I can go on to work with it, right? All right, superb. Now that we understand this about we understand everything we need to know until data pre-processing. The next thing that I told you about was me saying, hey, how much will pregnancies have an effect on diabetes? How much will age have a difference on diabetes? How much will having low blood pressure, high blood pressure have a relation with diabetes, right? To answer all of that question, take a look at this, right? This is something called as a heat map or a correlation map. A correlation metric will tell you how two features are closely bound together. The darker the color, it means that there is nothing that there is no correlation, right? If for example this is black, so what this is trying to tell me is probably blood pressure or what is this next column, insulin and pregnancies, they don't have any sort of correlation there, right? Now this might not be true in the real world, but with our data that we have in hand, it is the case. Now as the color gets lighter and lighter, the both x-axis and y-axis variable you'll be taking a look at will have a tighter outcome. For example, insulin and glucose are closely tied together, right? Glucose and insulin, if you take a look at this color is slightly light in color, right? Now this color can be mapped onto the legend to be checked as well. But if you see, all the diagonal lines here that you see here are white in color. White means it is completely equal. Of course it is equal. Take a look at this. We have pregnancies here. If I scroll down, we have pregnancies here. We have glucose here, glucose here. So we are just comparing the same thing to the same thing in the diagonal positions. That's the reason it will say, hey, it is 100% the same, right? Now it's okay if you do not understand how to read a correlation matrix or how to understand what it is to work with a heat map, but it is super important for you to know that, hey, you can print out a correlation matrix like this to understand which two features are closely linked together, right? Superb, guys. Once we go on to do that, the next couple of things, next small steps that we have to take is to know what is the amount of data that we're seeing. We saw that we have 768 rows of data, but how many of these guys have diabetes and how many of these guys don't have diabetes, right? Well, with this small piece of code, I can print out that 500 people have no diabetes. Now, if 500 people don't have diabetes, it means the remaining people have diabetes, right? 268 people have diabetes. Now, if I just give you 500 and if I just give you 268, but I don't give you any context, you will not understand what is going on. If I hide what is saying in the text here, you will not know what this might be for, right? This is the reason why we create a beautiful looking graph like this, which says, hey, if your outcome is 0, these many people don't have diabetes. If your outcome is 1, these many people have diabetes here, right? Look at this. As soon as I just show you this graph and tell you guys, hey, we have 768 rows of data, 500 don't have diabetes, 268 have diabetes. If I just show you this graph, don't you think we can understand it better, right? Okay, so Shubham has a question. What is the major difference between regression and classification? Shubham, regression is mostly used in a part where you're trying to assess variables based on the other things that might have factors for them. For example, I told you, if you remember, weather prediction, right? Now, weather prediction works on regression itself, right? The process of regression ensures that you can try to assess, analyze, predict find out the probability of what might happen based on the data that we have at hand as well. Classification is a very simple task. As the name itself suggests, you will try to classify something. Now if I give you 1 apple, 2 oranges and 3 watermelons, and if I say, can you please classify them based on fruit, of course you'll keep all the apples aside, you'll keep oranges different, you'll keep watermelons away, whatever it is, right? You know how to classify. Similarly, teaching our machine learning algorithm to do this will be that as well. I hope that answers your question, Shubham. Fernando asks a question: correlation only works for numeric features. Well, Fernando, yes. When we're thinking about using categorical values for correlation, you cannot compare two things, right? If I just say how is an apple equivalent to an orange, well, we can still compare it to a point where even an apple is a fruit, an orange is a fruit, right? There you can have a small correlation saying yes, both of these are fruits. But if you dive into the details of more and more in terms of categorical variables, it becomes difficult. This is where we use concepts such as one-hot encoding to convert these categorical variables into numerical variables for usage, right? Now that's another very different train of thought. Okay guys, now is the fun part that I want all of you all to take a look at. This is the part where it is very simple. It is very in fact very similar to what you would do in your college examination as well, right? Usually when you join a school or a college, you're given a couple of textbooks, you're expected to read from the textbook, gain knowledge, and eventually you can go on to write an examination. Now to do that as well, instead of just giving the entire data to the machine learning algorithm, what I will do is I'll only give it 80% of the data. I'll be like, hey, here is 80% of the data, learn it, and eventually I will keep the 20% of the data for myself, and later I will give you a test. If you can, let me see if you can pass this test or not. That is exactly what we're doing. We're splitting the data to be 80% for training, 20% later for testing. Right now, I had one question. Usually whenever I try to address an audience or whenever I have a conference or anything like that, people usually ask me saying the actual machine learning process, right? All of these is just preparing our data for machine learning. If we are just using machine learning, how many lines of code is going to require? Well, look at these guys. Look at these 2 lines of code here. This is basically us doing the entire procedure of machine learning that I just told you, right? You don't have to write hundreds of lines of code. All of this is done previously just to explain the code to you guys and to bring it to a form where machine learning algorithms can understand. But the actual process of it using the data to train, learn and understand, it is 2 simple lines of code, right? How simple is this? Now, as soon as you go on to finish the regression, well, it's basically giving us a small warning saying your iterations limit has been reached. No issues, it will still work, right? So once you have used your notebooks to learn, the next thing is you guys giving a test to see if the machine learning algorithm has learned anything. As soon as I click this piece of code, we are basically trying to predict if our machine learning algorithm has learned anything correctly or not. It is not just that. Once that is done, I'll have to know how well it learned, right? It is just like your teachers scoring your papers or scoring your marks, examinations and all of that, right? Now, one concept in statistics for all the people who are saying, hey, do you require machine learning? Do you require maths? Do you require statistics for data science? The answer is yes, yes and yes. Because a concept called confusion matrix, now this just looks like 4 random numbers to you, but to a trained professional, this is basically a number that will help you predict how accurate your machine learning algorithm is. Of course, machine learning will already know the output in the case of supervised learning. This matrix will tell us what was the actual values that were expected, what were the correct values we got, what were the inaccurate values that we got, right? Values such as true positive, true negative, false negative is what this shows. And don't worry, I won't get into the detail. It might confuse you a little, but yes, just 4 numbers like this, you can take a look at it and say, oh, okay, so this is how well this machine learning algorithm can perform. Or you can look at it and say, oh, that's not very efficient, right? Simple. But to give you guys an output that you guys can understand very easily, let us just print out the accuracy score. Let us see how accurate our machine learning score is. Now, we used logistic regression here. Logistic regression is a supervised learning model. With this, we have somewhere around 75% of accuracy. Now, what I can understand from this statement is that my machine learning algorithm is saying, hey, for every 100 patient data that you show, almost 75 of it I can get correct. The remaining 25, there might be one or two small errors where it thinks the person has diabetes where he or she might not, right? So it is good enough if for 100 patient data, if it can accurately say for 75 of them saying this person may or may not have diabetes. This is a very rough machine learning algorithm to just show you the power of machine learning, right? So when you're considering all of that, I think it becomes super important for you to know that Python as a language can help you do a lot for a small amount of code. Right now guys, that was the point of this demonstration, to show you guys that hey, with respect to Python, you can go on to work with this in an effective manner, right? Okay, superb. Now that we understood a good amount of stuff about data science and Python, you will be very curious to know that hey, okay, so going ahead, where can you learn more? Of course, data science is a very popular concept. You will find content around the world, but one thing I have to tell you guys about data science is that this is a very big domain, guys. It is very easy to get drowned in. It's like an ocean. It's like you're swimming in ocean, right? Unless you have a motorboat or something, or unless you have an aeroplane to fly across, it will become very difficult. It is humanly impossible to swim through one big ocean, right? Now, when that is the case, our point here right now, that's the reason I keep telling you guys to subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel, because since there is a lot of content, it is very easy to get stuck somewhere. If you have structured content, if you have a learning path, it's almost like going on your favorite trekking mountain, right? If you have a map or you know how to go about it, fantastic, you can do it, or else you might get lost, right? The advantage of you guys subscribing to the Great Learning YouTube channel is that we will make sure to keep the content in a super structured manner, and we will also align it with what is required in the industry. Now, usually, I know you guys will agree to this. Sometimes you learn something in college, but you have to realize that you have to get retrained on some other concept to get a job. Now, we usually try to avoid this, because since we're talking about Python data science, I made sure to give you the most important things that you're going to require even if you have to start a job with respect to Python and data science, right? So not just college learning, but aligning with everything that the industry wants is super important. So regardless of where it is you're learning from, make sure that you guys have access to this, right? Well, of course, you can start by taking a look at the free content that we have here on Great Learning with respect to data science, and of course a lot of different things. With respect to Great Learning Academy, you have access to hundreds and hundreds of courses. You can pick up anything you want in any order that you want, and of course I also showed you the career path order in which you can go on to do. And Great Learning YouTube channel is a fantastic place, right guys? You can go on to if you guys subscribe, of course the advantage is that at the end, as soon as we put out a new video, an important video, as always we do, you will be the first ones in the world to get a notification, right? That is important. Now you can use Great Learning Academy to learn for free. You can use the YouTube channel to learn for free, and also we have blogs, guys. If you just go on to Google and type in Great Learning blogs, you will have access to many blogs written by experts again. So you can definitely go on to learn for free with either of these three places, and you can use in fact three at the same time as well. Right? Okay guys, superb. Now quickly coming on to the section to answer one important question of yours. Now you might saying, hey, all these free content that is being provided, of course, is super helpful. It will bring you up to an intermediate level wherein you can start working with the domains. But what if you have to become a thorough expert, right? You will start as a beginner, but at the end you want to become a complete expert. How to go about doing that? Now here at Great Learning, we have multiple specialization and post-graduation offerings which will help you guys do that. We have many post-graduation programs, MTech programs, Masters in Science programs which are being done in collaboration with superb universities like University of Texas, we have PS University, Northwestern University, and many other universities, guys. So let me quickly show you how it is to walk through one of these courses in a quick manner so that you guys can go on to do it. Right now, I'm sure the person handling the chat will give you a link of one of these programs that I am showing. Now let me quickly go on to open the most popular course that we have here, is basically the post-graduation program in data science and business analytics, right? Data science and business analytics is super important, and what you are looking at is a super important, a very popular course that we have, ladies and gentlemen. Now with respect to great learning, you will have a lot of advantages. You will have a thorough curriculum you'll have to learn. You will have a personalized mentorship, wherein you'll have 1:1 mentorship. You will have live classes with of course it's all online. You'll have live classes with respect to 10-15 learners each, and this is a 11-month course done in collaboration with the University of Texas at Austin, guys. You will get career support. You can find out, let me just show you the certificate that you guys will get, right? You will get 2 certificates, basically one from the University of Texas at Austin, which says you have completed the post-graduation program. The other one is basically one more certificate from Great Lakes Executive Learning. Right now, these certificates are super important for your career, guys. It's not just a certificate, it's everything that you learn. All of these modules have multiple quizzes, multiple projects. Look, I can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you guys realize that there is a ton of things to learn. And it's not just these. What you're seeing are headings, guys. If you click on it, you will find more and more details. Now, the aim of this course is to make sure, this post-graduation program is to make sure you guys become thorough experts in this particular domain, right? Of course, you're gonna have to put in the work required to get to that point. You will be working on a capstone project, a very important project, wherein you'll be having expert guidance from all of our experts we have here. You can take a look at all the projects you are working, and of course, what is the most important thing when you're learning anything, right? You have to learn from the experts themselves. Now, we have these leading academicians in the field of data science and business analytics, and these guys are thorough experts and masters in this particular domain. They will be teaching you, they will help you to ensure you get to your point. And it is not only that, apart from our teachers, or apart from our faculty as well, we have mentors. Mentors will be there every step of the way to help you in case if you get stuck anywhere, and this is an advantage which you might not get in another part of in another different course or a competitor, right? Okay, now it's not just that, guys. It's not just about you guys picking up a program to learn. What is the outcome of it? Now, some of you all might be doing it to have a career jump. Some of you all might be doing it to ensure that you will have access to good jobs, right? Of course, here we are giving you access to exclusive recruitment drives, curated jobs. Will help you prepare for your interviews and give you a good amount of mentorship with respect to careers as well, right? You can find out a lot of things about us. You can find out all the learner achievements here. You can find out all the international, national conferences, publications that all these papers got the award. You can find out a lot about learner testimonials, what everyone are saying about us. And of course, guys, coming to the section where you have access to the fees, as I told you, since this is a 11-month program, you will have access to 225 plus hours of online learning content. You'll have access to our exclusive GL Accelerate curated jobs portal, individual doubt solving sessions, 17 real world projects guided by the experts themselves, right? This among other advantages too, guys. So you can definitely try to take a look at this. Since this is a comprehensive 11-month program, we are offering a lot of flexibility in terms of education loans and 0% interest as well. So make sure you're trying to contact our experts because again, terms and conditions will be there for all of these, right? But of course, you have the opportunity to do it. And of course, guys, we have the application process as well. You have to follow the application process through which you can get into this particular program. You can find all the FAQs, frequently asked questions there. And if you still have a doubt at the end of it, let me just show you guys one important thing. Right now, if you scroll down at the end of this particular course here, you will see a part wherein you can put in your name, email, and mobile ID and your years of experience, guys. If you quickly put down your details here, we will make sure an expert from our side will give you a call and help you out with what is required. Right now, you can ask questions to these experts saying which program here at Great Learning will help you the most, what is your career aspirations, and what program here might help you get there, and a lot of these questions, right? Put in your name, email, mobile number. And for work experience, we understand that some of you might be college students, some of you might just have graduated and have 0 years of experience, basically you're a fresher. Some of you all might have less than 1 year of experience as well. So just choose what it is based on you, based on your profile, hit submit, and in the next 4 working hours, our experts will give you a call themselves, right? Superb, guys. I hope all of you all will definitely take a look at this particular program. Check this out. This is a fantastic program, right? All right, superb. So guys, with this we have come to the end of this session. Now thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you guys had a fantastic time to go about learning all of these things that I just told you about, right? Everything from why to learn Python, what are the skills that are required, how do you start Python for data science. We also discussed the libraries that are necessary to do that. I showed you a fantastic demo to show you the power of Python as well, and we discussed a super program which will help you get across to your dream jobs with respect to a career in data science as well, right? So guys, I hope everything that I taught you here, you guys understood it clearly. If you did enjoy the video, do take a second to like the video, do take a second to hit subscribe, because if you hit subscribe, you will, again, it's advantages for you guys only, guys. You will be the first ones to get notification every time I put out a video, and me along with all the subject matter experts here will be putting a lot of videos for you guys, right? So it'll always help if you guys can see it, learn, and eventually go on to have not just learn but also have a good amount of fun while learning. Alright guys, superb. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys are staying safe from the COVID-19 pandemic out there. We're all working from home, learning from home. This is the right time for you guys to get started with Python for data science, right? Superb guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day ahead. My name is Anirudh Rao, and I'll see you on the next one.